Hey everyone, it's Cynthia Ray here. Sorry it's taken me a little bit of time to get on today. I am actually having some technical difficulties with logging in and connecting Zoom to our live video today. So anyway, I just thought I'd go directly live on Facebook. Sorry, I'm just looking to see if it's loading yet on Facebook. I know there's a little bit of a delay. But welcome to, here we go, got it. Welcome to our new group. And I had some issues this morning too. I'm trying to figure out all tech stuff. But I accidentally deleted our previous group, the Intuitive Wellness Community, and was able to create a new one. So I'm glad that you're here and that you found me again. And we're just going to continue where we left off in the other group. And actually, this makes it easier because I'm able to do more with our group technically wise so far. So anyhow, welcome, and I'm glad that you're here. Every Thursday around 3:30, I plan to do a live video. It might change in the near future, as things are kind of getting hectic with my life and homeschooling and everything like that. But in the meantime, last week I discussed mindful eating, and that's basically really being in tune with your body as far as how much to eat and when to begin eating. So if you want to catch that, it's the video from last Thursday. I have it in our old group, or it's even on my Well Within Facebook page, the Cynthia Ray page. I can move it to this page also so you guys can view it if you didn't. So today I'm going to be discussing intuitive eating, which is similar to mindful eating, but a little bit different. So before I begin, I just want to welcome you all and also let you know that if you're watching this live, feel free to comment in the comment section of our page here. Our group page is private. There's everything that's said here stays here, and we have a little bit of a confidentiality in this group too, that like I said, whatever people say here stays in this group and doesn't go beyond this. If you have questions for me about somebody else, please feel free to message me on Messenger in a private message, and I can address those situations then. So feel free to comment as we go, and I'll check my phone to see if you have any questions for me. So today, like I said, we're talking about intuitive eating. Oh, and also if you are watching this recorded version, still feel free to comment, and I'll reply to your comments later on. All right, so welcome again. And intuitive eating is such an amazing concept. I know for me, when I was struggling with eating disorders in my teens and early 20s and into my, I guess mainly early 20s, and after my recovery, I really learned how to get back in tune with my body using the concept of intuitive eating. And that really means getting back to your nature, getting back to really understanding what it feels like to eat certain foods without judgment, blame, criticism, shame, anything like that. It's really easy in our culture today to get stuck in a mindset of the diet mindset, basically their diet cycle. And today, basically the diet cycle is where you actually are told from an outside source how to eat and what to eat, and completely ignoring the inside, your intuitive nature of how much to eat, what to eat, and when to eat. So I'm going to be giving you a little bit of a description of different types of cycles and how it is that we determine inside ourselves what we need to eat, when we need to eat, how much we need to eat, and so on. And there's a few different cycles I'm going to discuss. I'm going to talk about, of course, intuitive or instinctive eating, a mindful eating cycle lifestyle, and then comparing that to a diet cycle, a restrictive diet cycle, and also a binge trigger cycle. So you'll get to really understand what that all means. So before we begin, I would like to open up with the definition of normal eating. And I've used this in my practice many times with my clients just to get them a foundation to understand of what it actually means to eat normally. Because as we grow and develop and get so many ideas about dieting, we really lose touch with what it means to be a normal eater. And you may know somebody who is in fact a normal eater. And normal eaters are an average weight person. They exercise because they enjoy it. They find things they like to do to move. They eat when they're hungry. They stop when they're satisfied. Sometimes they really want to enjoy certain treats. Sometimes they're just not even in the mood. It's just somebody who really goes with the flow, with what they feel like eating, with what food makes them feel good, what food gives them energy, and sometimes may even overeat a little bit here and there just because it tastes good. So I'm going to read you this really great definition of normal eating, and I'll also post it to the comments of this video when I'm done. So the definition of normal eating is actually written by a woman named Ellen Satter, who is a licensed marriage family therapist and also a registered dietitian. And she really hones in on helping families feed their children like normal eaters, which is a pretty cool concept. So let me share with you the definition of normal eating. So normal eating is going to the table hungry and eating until you're satisfied. It's being able to choose food you like and eat it and truly get enough of it. Not just stopping eating because you think you should. Normal eating is being able to give some thought to your food selection so that you get nutritious food, but not being so wary and restrictive that you miss out on enjoyable food. Normal eating is giving yourself permission to eat sometimes because you're happy, sad, or bored, or just because it feels good. Normal eating is mostly 3 meals a day, or 4 or 5, or it can be choosing to munch along the way. It's leaving some cookies on the plate because you know you can have some again tomorrow, or it's eating more now because they taste so wonderful. Normal eating is overeating at times, feeling stuffed and uncomfortable, and it can be undereating at times, wishing that you had more. Normal eating is trusting your body to make up for your mistakes in eating. Normal eating takes up some of your time and attention, but it keeps its place as only one important area of your life. In short, normal eating is flexible. It varies in response to your hunger, your schedule, your proximity to food, and your feelings. So does that kind of give you an idea of what it is to be a normal eater? I know it's hard for some people to really grasp, and we can understand it in our minds, but to really put that in our heart as, wow, there's so much freedom to that. We're not concerned about the diet rules that we have. It's, some of the diet rules we could have are, don't eat past 6 p.m. or whatever happens to be, or we're doing intermittent fasting, so I need to eat during these hours of the day and not eat during these hours of the day, or I'm eating a keto diet, and these are the foods that are allowed because these are the foods that are going to help me lose weight. And as a matter of fact, as we age, you probably can tell already, it's naturally going to be more difficult to lose weight. That's just the way it is. Our bodies are going to respond to foods in different ways than they used to. It's not going to be as easy to get in shape and fit as it was before. But it's just, it's just going to happen a little bit more slowly, and you have to definitely give yourself more grace. And when you become an intuitive eater, you're really learning to trust your body again. And with dieting, we really actually are saying that we don't trust our bodies and we don't trust food, because whatever we did before with our food, we were losing weight. And now we're eating such and such food, whether it's carbs or fat or whatever it happens to be, and now we're gaining a bunch of weight because of it. So if you're feeling like you're having struggles with losing weight and breaking through plateaus, it's because usually with age it happens. And it can happen. You just have to be super consistent with your exercise and your eating style, and just trusting your body again. When we don't trust, we tend to end up in these crazy cycles of eating and binging, restricting, having remorse, and then restricting again, and then binging again because we haven't had enough to eat. So I'm just going to go through some of those cycles with you. So the first cycle that I want to discuss is just the eating cycle itself. And I have these files I wanted to share. I don't know if I can with you or not, but I'm just going to go on my computer here. I'm going to find them. Give me one sec. Hang on one sec here. Okay, so let me open this up. So we're going to go to the just eating cycle itself. All right, so the eating cycle, and I'll post this also, I know you guys can't see it, but I'll post this also to the comments area in this video. So the eating cycle is just really asking your body what it is that you like to eat, or how it is that you eat. So the first part of the cycle is why? Why do we eat? And what's driving us to eat? The second part is when. When do we decide to eat? How do we know when to eat? Then what? How do we know what to eat? Then how? How do we know what to eat? How much? How do we know how much to eat? And where? How do we know where to eat? So it's a cycle in itself, and I'll share that with you in just a few. But so that's just the basis of the cycle, and that cycle is going to continue into the other cycles that we fall into. So let's talk about the instinctive eating cycle. So instinctive eating is basically our natural instincts, our intuitive instinct of how to eat. So why? So when we're eating instinctively, we answer the question why. And the reason why we eat when we're eating instinctively, we can say it's fuel. It's the fuel we need for our bodies to be nourished. And then when we're looking at when to eat as an instinctive eater, we eat when I'm hungry. And then what? I eat whatever I choose as an instinctive eater. How? I eat intentionally. I eat what sounds good. I don't just eat whatever comes along my way, but I eat on purpose and with intention. As an instinctive eater, I eat to satisfy my hunger. That's how I know how much I'm eating and where, and wherever it is, I'm living my life. So that cycle just kind of goes around and around, and then we get back to why, which is the cycle driver, and it's fuel. So as you can see, let me close this out here. This cycle is very intuitive, and it's really based on our instincts. Whoops, sorry, let me get back to where I was. All right. Okay, so when it comes to mindful eating, so these are they're different terms, but they're very similar concepts. So mindful eating, which I discussed in the last video, is being mindful, just being really aware of the food that you're eating, tasting it, experiencing it, enjoying it, really being aware of what you're eating when you're eating it, right? So mindless eating is the opposite. It's where you're eating food and you're just not really paying attention. You put something in your mouth, you're standing at the fridge, you're grabbing some snacks, looking for something to eat, and you're just too hungry. So you just begin to eat mindlessly. But mindful eating is really important when it comes to weight management because you are going to listen to your body's signals. You're going to begin eating when you're hungry and then remain mindful while you're eating. And then you're going to finish eating when you're satisfied or full. Anytime that you're eating beyond when you're doing non-hunger eating, when you're eating when you're not hungry, your body isn't asking for food, but you're eating anyway, whether it's mindlessly or out of habit or binging out of emotion. Your body says, oh, why is food coming in right now? I don't need any food. So I guess I better eat it now because apparently there's a famine coming. So I better store it so I can survive the next famine or season that's going to supply less food than I normally have. So when you are eating when you're not hungry, you're going to put weight on. I know sometimes people will think too, well, how is it that I eat when I'm hungry and I'm satisfied and I just either lose or maintain my weight? Well, there's also exercise too that comes into play. So if you are eating when you're hungry, stopping when you're satisfied, and exercising regularly, your metabolism is going to be elevated and your food is going to be more, your body will be more, your food will be more predictable and your body can trust that you're acknowledging its needs. So it'll take some time to kind of settle into that. And it also takes off the stress of eating. When we're stressed out and thinking about food, 90 to 95% of the day, it really becomes stressful in our bodies, and our bodies register that and recognize that. And that stress in itself can put weight on. And just the stress is going to make us want to eat out of emotion and not out of hunger. So you really want to be careful of that. All right. So when it comes to mindful eating, like I said, you want to eat when you're hungry and stop when you're satisfied. And then sometimes you might want a little bit more because you can't pack it away. And I know actually like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, my husband and I went to a buffet dinner and they had these great desserts, and I knew I couldn't take it, but I really wanted to have it. So I made a mindful, conscious decision to have a few desserts to have and enjoy. And then I moved on and I got full, really full, but I did it on purpose. And I knowingly I was going to do it. I wasn't just eating mindlessly and eating whatever I felt like whenever I want. It was definitely purposeful and intentional. Okay, so let's move on to what I have here, which is where did it go? The overeating cycle. So with overeating, you're going to find that the cycle driver is a trigger. So with overeating, we're triggered, whether it's emotionally, typically, or physically. So physically, your trigger could be you're too hungry. If your trigger emotionally, it could be too angry, too lonely, too tired, too frustrated, too bored. Anything like that that's emotional would be a trigger for an overeating cycle. Maybe the emotions that you have are too strong and you don't want to address them, and eating helps to numb them. And it actually really does. It really does help to numb emotions. Food really is a drug. So you really want to be careful about, first of all, understanding, being mindful of why you're eating in the first place to avoid those triggers. So you might want to check in with yourself before you begin eating. Oh man, I'm so hungry. I'm eating so quickly. And maybe instead drinking a glass of water before you begin eating, and then sitting down with your food and eating mindfully, even if you're really hungry. Then if you're eating emotionally, if you realize, okay, I'm not that hungry, but I'm really bored, I'm really angry, I'm really frustrated, I'm lonely, and I'm super exhausted. Maybe you're too tired. Those are emotional triggers. So if you're finding that, you want to definitely give yourself at least 20 minutes before you begin eating, especially when it comes to sugars. Sugars are usually the things people go for, sometimes salty and crunchy too, but things people go for when they're feeling very emotional, because it definitely gives you that serotonin rush and you feel relaxed and calm. So if you're finding yourself eating emotionally, maybe grab a drink of water first, and then walk away. The best thing to do is walk away. Give yourself 20 minutes, 30 minutes, walk away, and give yourself what you're looking for emotionally. If you're feeling lonely, find a friend to talk to, maybe even, text somebody, just get in touch with somebody to feel less lonely. If you're feeling angry, look for ways to calm your anger. Just, take some deep breaths, do some relaxation breathing, do some meditation, go for a run, punch something, not someone, but something like a pillow, something that can be damaged, a pillow or the ground, or just do some like running really fast in place, do some quick sprints, and it'll help to release that anger. A bunch of push-ups really helps too. If you're feeling angry, lonely, tired, if you're feeling tired, just maybe grab some tea, lay down and get some rest, numb out if you want to watch TV, scroll through social media, things that are really numbing or relaxing for you. Not numbing, relaxing. That just helps you give yourself permission to rest. I know as a mom, it's hard for me to give myself permission to rest, because I know if I sit down, I'm definitely gonna, pass out on the couch. So permission for self-care is a big deal. I know many of us don't give ourselves permission to have or enjoy self-care. So let's go back. So when it comes to overeating, one of the biggest, the cycle driver is triggers, whether it's emotional or hunger driven. And then we ask ourselves when, with overeating, it's an external or emotional cue. Like I said, what? It's tempting or comfort foods, or just a lot of food if you're really hungry. How? It's mindlessly, you're eating quickly and a lot of times secretly. How much? With overeating, it's until food is gone or until I'm uncomfortable. So it's not based on your physical satisfaction. It's based on whether it's like a physical thing. It's if the food is actually gone, or if I'm so uncomfortable I can't eat anymore. And then where? The excess fuel is actually going to be stored as body fat. So that overeating cycle is going to keep you gaining weight. And a lot of times that overeating cycle is triggered when we're too hungry, and maybe not hungry in the moment, but you've been on a diet for a while and there's foods that you weren't allowed to eat, and now the diet's over, or you just can't handle it anymore. It's getting too hard, and you just want to binge on the foods that you weren't able to eat because you're craving them so much. So when you're overeating or dieting, you're really not giving yourself or your body permission to take the lead. You're using outside or external sources to tell you how much to eat and what to eat, when that may not even work for you. I know a lot of times people will do a diet because their friend lost weight, but you have to know that that particular way of eating may not work for your body. It may not give you the same results as your friend, and your friend might be on that diet for a while, may see results, and then gain the weight back again, which is common for within dieting. So, okay, so that is the binge or the overeating cycle. So let me share with you one more cycle, which you might be able to resonate with, and that's the restrictive eating cycle. So on the other end of the overeating cycle is the restrictive eating cycle. So this is where you've been dieting and there's a lot of rules that drive your why. Like when I eat, I only can eat within the parameters that the diet allows. So there's lots of rules. It's very rules oriented, very strict, with leaving you no room to allow your body to have a say. Okay. So I never really understood, how is it that somebody else can tell you what your body needs to eat? You can imagine, I mean, like with your kids, for example, I know, I've tried to feed, when my kids were little, even now, try feeding them something that I enjoyed, but their bodies just didn't like. So I really have to honor their intuition and give them healthy options, and then they can choose from those options, and really listening, allow them to have that say of what it is they're going to eat. I can offer them foods, but then from those options, I need to be able to allow them to choose from those options what their bodies need in the moment. So, okay, restrictive eating cycle, that is rules driven. The why, it's the rules. This is the food I need to eat, and these are the rules I need to go by. When do I eat is rules driven. It's according to the rules. The what is it's only the good or the allowed foods are the ones I'm able to eat. And a lot of times too with dieting, you're going to find good. Obviously, there's extremes, good and bad. There's nothing in between. With intuitive and mindful eating, you're going to find that there's a lot of stuff in between that you can choose from, and it's based on how you're feeling or what you need in the moment. How, with a restrictive eating cycle, how do I eat? I eat rigidly because I'm limited by the rules. How much do I eat? I only can eat the allowed amount, because this is the amount of calories I'm supposed to eat to lose weight. Where? Energy is spent on diet and exercise. So if you are eating restrictively, that you need to be exercising to compensate for the amount of calories that you're eating so that you can lose weight. And that in itself is so stressful. I mean, when somebody is putting rules on you, very few people want to feel like they have rules being put on them or told exactly what to do. I know initially it feels really good because we want to know exactly what to eat and when to eat and what to eat when we're so lost and desperate to lose weight. We're lost and disconnected from our intuitive nature when it comes to eating, and we just don't know where to go anymore. So when somebody can tell us exactly what to eat, when to eat, it feels really good. And I know that because I've done it. I started out, being 14, 15 years old and just being taught over, through my parents and over the years of dieting, and dieting is the way to go because it helps you to feel like you're in control, or that you're on top of it and just feel safe. And not having rules feels really scary because it feels like you're just kind of like on your own out there. I don't really know what to do. But if you think about it, think about how kids eat. They eat intuitively and they eat instinctively, especially babies. They eat when they're hungry and they stop when they're satisfied. They cry when they're hungry and they move away or stop, eating or drinking when they're satisfied. And we all have that in us instinctively. It's a matter of getting back to it and trusting our bodies again, which is very hard because in our society, we're taught not to trust our bodies anymore. So just want to share that piece with you. All right, so with all of this, there is freedom. There's so much freedom when it comes to intuitive and mindful eating. But it's hard. Trusting your body is hard when you've been taught not to trust your body, or you've tried it before and you gained weight, or you didn't see any shift in your body weight. So that takes practice. It takes practice and maybe education, understanding the best ways to exercise to have the best results, the best ways to eat when you're hungry and stop when you're satisfied to get the best results, and to choose foods that are nourishing for your body, and knowing how to do that. And, just to give you an example, I know when I was struggling with my eating disorder, trust was the furthest thing from my mind. That was the scariest thing I could ever imagine, and it was not even on my radar. Trusting my body, trusting food was exactly the opposite. I feared food, and I feared what it would do to my body, and I feared that my body wouldn't respond like it wanted it to. It was basically kind of living as a slave to food and rigid diet rules. Although initially it felt really good to be able to follow along to something that was very rigid and diety, because it felt secure. It gave me a sense of security and like safety. But in the end, it's a false sense of hope, because it doesn't lead to anything except, at least for me, and I know for many other people too, it doesn't lead to anything except to more stress, because it's impossible to maintain that forever, because it's going against our body's nature. So what I really want to teach you today is how to maybe start to learn to trust your body, and give some practice with that, and see how intuitive and mindful eating can work for you, and what it's going to take to get there, and to really start to get comfortable with that concept. And for me, like I said, getting comfortable with that concept was not even on my radar. When my counselors and therapists were telling me, to do this, I thought, oh my gosh, you're crazy. There's no way I can trust my body, because that's not what I do. But over time, it took practice. They would teach us to really listen, stay in tune with our bodies, and just only eat when you're hungry. Wait till the hunger comes to begin eating, and without judgment or blame, just eating the food that we wanted to eat in the moment, and really checking in with our emotions. That was huge. So really understanding how it was we were feeling before we began eating, and tasting the food, enjoying the food, and without judgment. That's the hugest thing, is to eat something without judging yourself. Feels so good. But I've been in private practice for a little over 20 years now, and have been in recovery for maybe a little bit longer than that, and have walked so many women through this, and men too, through this process, and seen how much they've grown. And you could totally, try it on your own and go for it. But I've done it, and I've been there, I've done that, and I've walked so many other people through that. And I've tried, I know you can figure it out on your own and do your own dieting, but if you want to learn more on how to do this, I'm here to support you. And this group that you're in is here to support you too. So make sure to join me on these Thursday lives to learn more about this, and ask me. I'm here. I'm your coach. I'm here to help you through this. I had my private practice in brick and mortar building, but now I'm going completely virtual, so I can really help more people outside of my own area. So if you want to learn more about how to live your life in more of an intuitive and mindful eating lifestyle, I'm here for you. Continue watching these videos. I have other videos that I've posted already this is my 5th video, I think, in the series. I've talked about mindful eating last week. The week before was breaking through plateaus. And then before that was getting through self-sabotage and helping yourself to get healthier. So anyway, so I just wanted to give you an idea. But if you want to go back and watch those, that could be great for you too. And I think that's all I have for today. But really getting to understand and trust your body is so huge, and it's so freeing, and to get those results that you really want for longevity, and to have a lifestyle of just being able to drop off that diet mindset and just really follow what you need for yourself. It's such a beautiful thing. So I'm going to share with you, like I said, some of these documents that I was looking at and referring to, and so you can better understand how this all works. All right, let me know if you have any questions, whether you're watching this recorded or you're watching it live. You can post your questions and I will respond. Talk to you soon.